Good morning. This is Caroline from Caroline's Veggies. This is my husband, Steve.
Hi, everyone.
So we're just going over our garden fence today, and so I'm just going to ask my husband a couple questions about what he's doing in regards to the garden fence. So first of all, honey, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background?
I'm a businessman, so this is part of an earlier part of my life. I spent somewhere in the area of 10 years doing a lot of trades related work, and I love carpentry, and so this is fun.
Great.
Hard
great.
work, but fun, worthwhile.
So can you tell me exactly what you're doing this morning?
So what I'm doing today is I'm marking out for a new fence. So I think Caroline showed in an earlier video, we've got this huge plot that we tilled up. I'm standing at the opposite end of the backyard. The whole yard in total that we're in is somewhere in the area of 1/10 of an acre. And so we're trying to maximize this, and we're also trying to make sure that we protect all of our things that are going to be out here. So we have the garden on that end. Behind us is this building where I'm standing. We're planning to put a hen house, and then we're going to have some raised beds on this end and one or two hoop houses. So we want to protect all of that because we've got a lot of critters. We have coyotes, lots of coyotes. They scream at night. We have vermin, weasels, and the weasels can be really vicious. And so that's the number one thing. We've got to protect the hens from weasels and coyotes.
And barn cats
We have cats who help us a lot with the vermin, but they may not want to help us with the chickens. I get the sense they're going to want them for dinner. And we also want to try and keep things like rabbits away from the veggies. So we're building a big fence. We're going to try and match it to the fence you can see right behind me, because these were already here. And so we've got a trailer full of fence posts. We're going to pick up an auger today and pop 38 holes in the ground and sink all these posts in. And so yesterday I measured and I marked kind of the lazy man's way for where all these posts were going to go, because I wanted to get an accurate count.
You can kind of see here. There we go. Here.
Yep. And I'm just not happy with how it came out. It's, I was taking a really lazy approach. I was just kind of moving an 8-foot stick along and making marks, and I decided that the right thing to do would be to square this off. And in my head at the time, I thought, you know what, the fence behind me is terribly unsquare, as are the other two fences on the property. Whoever put them in just didn't have a really intense eye for detail. And no offense to them or to the people we brought the property from, we love it here. But, I decided that's not me, that's not who I am. So I'm taking the time to measure and remark where all these post holes are going to go. So it won't change my count of materials, but it is changing some of the locations, because it just didn't look perfect enough.
Okay, so do you think somebody who doesn't really have, carpentry skills like yourself, do you think they could do this with a friend or family member?
I think the answer is absolutely. The thing is that the only piece of special equipment you really need is a post hole digger, an auger, which you can rent. You can buy them. They're not tremendously expensive, but if this is going to be a one-time thing, you can go to Menards and rent a manual one. You can go to Home Depot and rent a gas-powered machine, and they have even larger machines. And as far as the marking and the measuring, the truth is that all you really need to do is be good with your math. So if anybody remembers their geometry from high school, the Pythagorean theorem tells us that the hypotenuse of a right triangle equals the sum of the square of both of the other sides. And that's how we can guarantee we have a nice square fence, which is actually what I'm doing right now. If we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then we know that if I measure 4 feet here, 3 feet on the next side, and then measure from each mark to each other, that the sum of my 4-foot squared and 3-foot squared should equal 5-foot squared. So this should be 5 feet if I measure from here to here. And essentially what I'm saying is that 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. The sum of those two is 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. So from here to the other side should be 5 feet. That's the only complicated part about putting in a fence. The rest of it's just hard work.
And you could probably just refresh yourself with Google Pythagorean theorem, so it can't be too hard, right?
No, of course not. In fact, I bet you if you just Googled how to put in a fence, you'd get all the tips you would need, that one included.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Professor Steiner.
Thank
you from Caroline's Veggies. I hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye.